So again, on behalf of everyone, of our team of helpers and Inside Out and everyone, I welcome you to this webinar. And this webinar is just a stepping stone, and that will be discussing on a very sensitive, for us it is a very sensitive issue. And this is, as you see, it is Sola Beel that we'll be discussing. I know many of the young people may not know the name, that what Sola Beel is all about and what it is. So I will play a small, I'll try to play a small video for you that Rupankar and Aniket, they have created. So as you have joined, I just want to tell you, it's not like we have a panel which consists of a lawyer who will not be able to make it because maybe because of his family problems. Mr. Boshak, he is, I don't know if he will be able to join us at some point of time or not, but we have with us Orghodip Borua. All of you are familiar with him. He is there joining his, holding his hand to you, and I can see, and always with a smile. And then we have, I cannot see, but I would love to see him, our dear old sir. I don't mean old by age. I mean, my research career revolved around this person. So my sir, Shoibal Sengupta sir, Dr. Shoibal, but Dr. Shoibal Sengupta hates being called as doctor, so it's Shoibal Sengupta. Shoibal sir, our very own Shoibal sir. Then we go to Shirshendu. He happened to be my student when I was in South Point. I was teaching. So Shirshendu does extensively on plastic pollution, and this is pretty much the theme that we have with us. But ইয়ার লগতে কি হয়, everybody who has joined is equal stakeholder to the whole meeting, because your opinion, because me myself at the point that I am in, I know as much as you know about Sola Beel. So this is more of a brainstorming session that we are having. Like Shoibal sir will tell you, because he has been involved with Sola Beel for now, may not be in recent past, he may not have been involved with Sola Beel, but at one point of time he was very much actively participating in conservation of Sola Beel, and he has also publications from the past regarding Sola Beel. So so what I think is that Shoibal Sengupta sir will also give us input how to go ahead with this, and also maybe all of you, anybody who feels like that you want to say something, because as you see that we are already in the process of recording this session, so that anything you tell will be recorded. And so that now, taking it ahead, I will first go to the senior panelist in this group, Shoibal sir, and we will first we'll go and get a very insight about this wetland, and then we'll move ahead. But I request all of you, like if you have in between, if you have anything to tell, you can just unmute and say that your name. You can just tell your name, and then even if you are in between a talk, we can always stipulate a time. It's not about just talking. It's not about we talking and you listening. It's not a class. That's the most important thing. Because if this workshop would be useless if we do not find a solution to the cause, and a single person or a 4 or 5% are not enough to find a cause, solution to a cause which is pending for such a long period of time. So any of you, and every of you, I hope your participation will be the most important thing to get a very brief idea যে কি হৈছিলে বা কেনুকা বস্তুটো আগবাঢ়িছিলে, Sola Beel, what is the basic. I just want to know from Shoibal sir যে স্যার আপুনি যদি ক'ব পাৰে যে how it all started and what is your take in the whole thing.
I mean, if we look at a broader aspect, originally the city of Guwahati was full of wetlands and some actually elevated area, some hillocks around. And we know the wetlands, this is what we call as beels, are actually providing immense ecosystem services Now, coming back to Sola Beel, how far it was extended. It was once connected to Diglipukuri, and we all know about Sola Park. What is Sola Park? But that means it is the bank of that Beel. Now, you won't get anything there. It is totally being encroached upon or allotted by government, and it is nothing built. It's all landfill area. Coming back to the Sola Beel proper, now what we have, in my early days, we have seen Sola Beel right from Nepali Mandir, A.K. Azad Road, up to just by the side of the A.K. Azad Road, up to the Shabipur. And at that time, it was a pristine environment. The birds, it was the paradise for birds. Birds used to fall there. And that was a very clear, actually, aquatic system, or I will say, unpolluted aquatic system. Even State Forest Department, State Fishery Department has a fishery tank in the midst of the Sola Beel. In 74, Kakoti sir, he was IGP, along with his wife, put a recommendation for preserving and conserving the Sola Beel, and they have made certain plans and diagrams were made. However, nothing being done. Since 76, we raised our voice to protect the Beel, but government was not very interested, and allotment was given to Forest Department. What you can see earlier, it was forest quarters. Now, forest office. Now they have already constructed big buildings, forest quarter. That was a part of Sola Beel, as well as the at the time, Vice President of India laid the foundation stone of some tourist lodge or youth enclave, which is just by the side of the Nepali Mandir. It was started with the allotment of Children Theatre Hall, that is the Children's Cinema Hall, Meghdut. Meghdut was allotted for children, actually only for children cinema, and later more and more allotment was given. One of my colleague or friend, Biplab Chaudhary, tried to fight this encroachment, and we got some positive response from High Court. High Court actually asked government to cancel all the allotment, and all the allotments were cancelled, but later again it was reinstated. In late 80s, from Paltan Bazar market, the wholesale fish market was shifted here in the midst of the Sola Beel, and that is the point from where it started polluting. All the drains, right from Pan Bazar to Chhatribari, Paltan Bazar, Rihabari are actually are released in this bill, carrying the sewage, and that into that again the fishes, the wastage of fish, that's the fish market being added into the bill, and the bill become an area or a wetland without any life. Even there's those which are facultative bacteria could not survive. There are some pathogenic bacteria that are surviving. We tried to find out how much polluted it is. It is found to be so much polluted that even the toads and frogs are not laying their eggs there. They have sensed that this is a polluted one where they are actually their future generation will not survive. They started laying eggs into nearby pool of water. No eggs are being laid into this land, into this water body. So it becomes so much polluted that even of actually fighting against the encroachment, against the apathy of the government, we did not receive anything except for that beautification of this Sola Beel. And several lakhs of rupees were allotted to GMDA, and GMDA constructed the footpath surrounding that without taking any concrete steps. Even sewage treatment plant was installed, but till date it is actually not operative. So out of frustration, for the last 10 to 12 years, myself and my friends who were actually fighting for the bill actually gave up the fighting, because we could not do anything. Initially, there were a large number of people, and ultimately we have found we had only 3 or 4 who were fighting. And I admit, we lost the battle. Now you have come today forward and take this platform. Don't consider this. Today is the Environment Day, where we will take the place to work for 365 days as our Environment Day, so that we can save this, which is in the heart of the city, and which once was actually providing immense ecosystem services. I can remember my father's chamber was very close to that, and there was a restaurant when I was in class 3. There was a restaurant close by, which was named as Lake View Restaurant. Just imagine that was a Lake View Restaurant. That means that was a very nice, actually, lake that was present. Now what we are dealing with, that's nothing but extremely polluted. You can't even walk by the side because it is so actually bad smelling, or odor is so foul smelling is coming out. So we can't even walk by the side of the Sola Beel. So that's actually I have given you my knowledge about the Sola Beel. And when the discussion will go on, I will try to make some more information as per the way of the discussion. Thank you.
Sir, so I can see your frustration when you were talking, but I need you back, sir. I need your camera on, and you can keep your camera on, no worries, sir. So, আমি যেতিয়া স্যার লগত কথা পাতি আছিলো, to all of you, if you can see human emotion, you can really see the frustration when he was talking. So I have not seen that emotion. Even he is an expert, global expert on amphibian, but I have not seen his emotion going so high when he is talking about amphibian as well. So I see the connect between him. But for a general idea, এতিয়া যদি আমি এটা কথা ক'ব বিচাৰো, কাৰণ আমাৰ এটা হেৰি লাগে, ভিজুৱেল ডাইমেনশ্যন আমাৰ এটা দৰকাৰ। তো ছাৰৰ পৰা মই এইটো জানিব বিচাৰিম যে টুডে যাক আমি Sola Beel বুলি, Sola Beel, লেটস টেক Sola Beel ফৰ কনসিডারেশন, আমি যাক আজি Sola Beel বুলি কৈ আছো, when sir was in class 3 and when there was this Lake View restaurant, এইটো আজিতকে কিমান ডাঙৰ আছিল, মানে how much bigger in comparison ratio wise?
আচ্ছা, এতিয়া আমি জানো যে এখন ৰাস্তা আছে যেটো Sola Beelৰ ড্ৰেইনটো, যেটো Sola Beelত আহি পৰিছে আমাৰ ব্লু হিলৰ এই গোটেই এৰিয়াটো বিল আছিল। And on the other, this entire area, including this আমি সৰু থাকোতে পাইছো, তাৰপিছত লাহে লাহে তাতে বসতি হল। Other side of that road, GS road, তেতে ওম প্ৰকাশ আনন্দৰ এই ঘৰটোৰ বাহিৰে বাকি গোটেইখিনি বিল আছিল, যেটা যি এই আমাৰ শংকৰদেৱ এই হেৰি আছে, নামঘৰ আছে, এই গোটেইখিনি আগতে বিল আছিল। এই বিলটো আছিল Sola Beelৰে কানেকশ্যন। যদিও আমি Sola Beelটোক একে আজাদ ৰোডৰ, আমি পল্টন বজাৰৰ পৰা গ'লে একে আজাদ ৰোডৰ সোঁহাতে যিখিনি পৰে এইখিনিকে Sola Beel বুলি কৈছিলোঁ। আৰু Sola Beel এতিয়া আমি যি দেখা পাইছো ৰিয়াহাবাৰী সাইডৰ পৰা আৰু ছাত্ৰীবাৰী সাইডৰ পৰা বহুতখিনি এনক্ৰোচমেন্ট হৈছে ৰিয়াহাবাৰী সাইডত প্ৰায় 40 মিটাৰ মান এনক্ৰোচমেন্ট আগতে যেটো আছিল তাৰ পৰা হৈছে এতিয়া যত আমাৰ ডেইলি বাজাৰত যেটো এইটো এখন ফিল্ড আছিল আগতে আমি ৰকেট ফিল্ড বুলি কৈছিলো ৰকেট ফিল্ডৰ হেক প্ৰান্তত অকল এটা লাইনৰ ঘৰ আছিল তাৰ পিছতে আছিল Sola Beel এতিয়া হল গৈ তাৰ পৰা আৰু 30-40 মিটাৰ ভিতৰত সোমাই গৈছে Sola Beel ঠিক তেনে ধৰণে আমি যদি ধৰো ছাত্ৰীবাৰীৰ কিছুমান পোৰশন ইভেন সাবিপুলৰ যেটো আমাৰ মন্দিৰ আছে মন্দিৰৰ লগত এখন নামঘৰ আছে এই দুখনে কিন্তু Sola Beelৰে এই ভৰ্তি কৰি Sola Beel ভৰ্তি কৰি এই দুখন বনোৱা হৈছে মাজত এই নামঘৰত উচ্ছেদৰ নটিচ আহিছিল এইফালে আমাৰ গোটেইখিনি এই যেটো ছাত্ৰীবাৰী আমি যেটো প্ৰফেসৰ পাৰা বা হেৰি বুলি কওঁ যেটো কেশৱ ধামৰ কাষৰ যিখিনি এই গোটেইখিনি আগতে এবাৰ নটিচ আহিছিল ভাঙি দিব খুজিছিল কিন্তু নাজানো কি হল পিছত কিন্তু সকলে বহি গল আৰু নতুনকৈও বহুখিনি বহিছে
কিন্তু আমার মানে এটা খুব রাফ খুব লেমেন এটা এস্টিমেট দিব গলে যে টুডেজ Sola Beelতকে আগত যেতে আপনি সৰু আছিল এটো দ্বিগুণ
30 to 40% reduction has already been done.
Okay, it is more than half or almost like half.
Yes,
so
almost.
Okay, so আমি এতিয়া আমার next everyone is guest here and I'll the invited guest বুলিয়ে কওঁ আমি যেনেকুৱা অৰ্ঘদীপক মাতি আনিছো so অৰ্ঘদীপ hi.
Hi sir.
Hi. So অৰ্ঘদীপৰ পৰা মই এইটো মানে because he has a very big footprint like he is doing very well and we love his work and we love his film and all but apart from that his from his stage life or his film life but apart from that what I believe যে মই যেতিয়াই তেওঁক দেখা পাইছো he is very proactive ইয়াৰ আগতে he was like in another webinar so we need people with voices to rescue this type of degrading habitat so অৰ্ঘদীপ যদি মই আজি ওয়ার্ল্ড এনভায়রনমেন্টৰ যোনটো হেৰি আছে তোমাৰ এটো কি কয় থিমটো হল ৰিস্টোৰিং ecosystem by ecosystem restoration so aji I just want your view what do you think that such fragile environment in urban landscape by enuka dhonor bostu eta common man like if you are expert in some field but in other field you are like as lay as many of us so like what do you think যে আমি as a mass jar mass appeal আছে আমি কেনুকা এই বস্তুটো আগবঢ়াই লৈ যাব পাৰিম so that it's not just another world environment day program but it has a some goal I just how to go ahead with it
sir মই আপোনাৰ answer মানে প্ৰথমতেটো সাইবল ছাৰক শুনি খুব ভাল লাগিলে আৰু তেওঁ যেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কথাবোৰ কৰে যেটো পিকচাৰৰ কথা আমাৰ মানে দাঙি ধৰিলে সঁচাকে তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ যদি বস্তুটো আমিও দেখা পালেতেন তেন্তে কিমান ভাল লাগিলহেঁতেন তো মানে তেওঁৰ কথাখিনি শুনিয়ে মানে মনত এটা মানে ভাল লগা এটা মানে এনাৰ্জিৰ অভিভাৱ হৈছে তো আপোনাৰ প্ৰশ্নটোকে মই যদি উত্তৰ দিবলৈ যাওঁ সো মই নিজৰ কিছুমান পাৰ্সোনাল এক্সপেৰিয়েন্সেছ শেয়াৰ কৰিব বিচাৰিম
sure
মানে মোৰ আপব্ৰিঙিং হৈছে আপোনাৰ গৰিপুৰ ধুবুৰীত আৰু আমাৰ জীৱনত wetlands আৰু riversৰ খুব মানে ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট ৰোল আছিলে মই ভাবো কাৰণ কি সৰু থাকোতে আমি কি হৈছিল আমি ধৰক সেই আপোনাৰ আমাৰ তাতে লাউখোৱা পাৰ বুলি এটা পাৰ আছে তাতে খুব মাইগ্ৰেটৰী বাৰ্ডছ আহে আৰু প্লাস আমাৰ গদাধৰ নদীখনো আছে সো এই ৰিভাৰ বা wetlandৰ মানে আমাৰ জীৱনত খুব ডাঙৰ প্ৰভাৱ আছে সো আমি যদি ৰিক্ৰিয়েচনেল ভ্যালু দিও চাও সো সৰু থাকোতে আগতে বাবাৰ লগত মৰ্নিং ৱাক কৰিব যাও বা দাদাহঁতৰ লগত সাইকেল চলাবলৈ যাও কেতিয়াবা ইভিনিং হলে আমি সানসেট চাও গৈ গদাধৰৰ পাৰত সো সেই যেটো এটা ৰিক্ৰিয়েচনেল ভ্যালু আৰু এটা যেটো সম্পৰ্ক আমি গঢ়ি তোলে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ এটা ইকোসিস্টেমৰ লগত বা এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ স্পেচৰ লগত হেতু খুব আনম্যাচড আৰু এটা বস্তু মোৰ যেটো পাৰ্সোনাল লেভেলত ৰিয়েলাইজ হৈছে যে ওভাৰ দ্য টাইম আমাৰ যেটো সম্পৰ্ক হেতু ইভলভ হৈছে এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ বস্তুবোৰৰ লগত মেবি আৰম্ভণিত চাগে মই খালি কালাৰ চাবলৈ গৈছিলো ডিফাৰেন্ট কালাৰ্ছৰ চৰাই আহা হেতুৱে মোৰ কাৰণে খুব ডাঙৰ কথা আছিলে বাট এট সাম পইণ্ট অফ টাইম যেতিয়া সময়ৰ লগত যেতিয়া মোৰ ধৰক অলপ বয়সো বাঢ়িব ধৰিলে I also found it to be a space where I could contemplate my thoughts. I could introspect. কাৰণ কি rivers আৰু water bodies মই ভাবো এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ কিছুমান apart from the fact that they are a great space to মানে for fresh water and also for having improve the air quality মই ভাবো তাৰ লগতেও তাৰ এটা খুব I think spiritual এটা মানে এটা এংগেলো আছে যে আপুনি এটা এনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ স্পেস য'ত you can just spend some time and pause আৰু আমি এতিয়া সময়ছোৱাত যদি চাওঁ I think COVID has also in some way have help us understand the importance of pausing মানে আমাৰ জীৱনটো ইমান ফাস্ট হৈ গৈছে যে আমি সব বস্তু মানে আমাৰ ওচৰৰ পাছৰৰ যোনবোৰ মানে সেই পজ হোৱা স্পেচবোৰ মানে লাহে লাহে নোহোৱা হৈ গৈছে so সেইটো পার্সপেক্টিভ দিও যদি মই চাওঁ এটা সোলা বিলৰ নিচিনা এটা স্পেস খুব ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট টু হ্যাভ দ্যাট স্পেস য'ত আমি ডিফারেন্ট সর্ট অফ ইন্টারাকশন ডেভেলপ কৰিব পাৰো আজিকালি সময়ত গ্ৰ্যান্ড চিলড্ৰেন আৰু গ্ৰ্যান্ড পেৰেন্টছৰ মাজত সেই কনভাৰসেশন হোৱা বন্ধ হৈ গৈছে বাট হ্যাভিং এ স্পেস লাইক সোলা বিল য'ত মেবি আজি ধৰক মই একদম জেনাৰেল লেমেনৰ পার্সপেক্টিভৰ পৰা আপোনাৰ কথাখিনি কৈ আছো
এইটোৱে লাগে
সো তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ মানুহবোৰ এটা তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ স্পেস যাব য'ত ধৰক দাদাজি আৰু মানে গ্ৰ্যান্ড চিলড্ৰেনটো বহি এটা গল্পই পাতি আছে সো আই থিংক হেতু পিনেটো যদি চাওঁ এই মানে ফাস্ট পেস লাইফটো আই থিংক সোলা বিলৰ নিচিনা এটা স্পেস খুব ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এপাৰ্ট ফ্ৰম দ্য অল দ্য থিং কি এইটো আমাৰ ফ্ল্যাশ ফ্লাড মিটিগেট কৰাত হেল্প কৰিব পাৰে আমাৰ ওয়াটাৰ সিস্টেমটো ইমপ্ৰুভ কৰাত হেল্প কৰিব পাৰে আমাৰ এয়াৰ কোৱালিটি ইমপ্ৰুভ কৰাত আমাৰ টেম্পাৰেচাৰটো এটা বেলেন্সত ৰাখাত হেল্প কৰিব পাৰে তাৰ উপৰিও মই ভাবো তাৰ যেটো ৰিক্ৰিয়েচনেল ভ্যালু আজিৰ সময়ছোৱাত য'ত মানুহৰ ইমান মেন্টাল হেলথ ইস্যুজৰো আগবাঢ়ি আছে তেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ সময়ত এনেকুৱা এটা স্পেস য'ত you can let go and pause I think it's খুব ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট
কারেক্ট সো থ্যাংক ইউ অর্ঘদীপ এটু খুব এটা বেলেগ ধৰণৰ এংগেল আমাৰ ডিসকাশনত আহি গ'ল ইভেন আমি যেতিয়া ডকুমেন্টাৰীটো বনাইছিলো মোৰ লাগিছে এতিয়া যে তোমাৰ লগত যদি আগত এবাৰ কথা পাতিলে আমি এই এংগেলটো দিব পাৰিলো হেতেন সৰুকে সো দিস ইজ ভেৰি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট কাৰণ মানুহে এটা জেনাৰেল মানুহৰ কাৰণে মানে যোনবোৰ লং যোনবোৰ মানে দেৰিকে আহা বস্তুবোৰ তেওঁলোকৰ ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট নহয় কিন্তু হঠাৎ ওচৰত যোন বস্তুবোৰ পায় দিজ আৰ ভেৰি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট ওৱান অফ দিস ইজ ৰিক্ৰিয়েচন বহি আজি চাৰে যেনেকুৱা ক'লে যে সেই মিঠাইৰ দোকানটো য'ত গৈ তেওঁ মানে লেক ভিউ লেক ভিউ মই যেতিয়া আই ডোন্ট নো ইফ হাউ মেনি অফ ইউ কুড ভিজুৱেলাইজ মই কিন্তু লগে লগে ভিজুৱেলাইজ কৰিছো এটা এনেকুৱা ব্লু কালাৰৰ বোৰ্ড মাৰা আছে যোনটো ৰং অলপ উঠি গৈছে তাৰ ওপৰত বগাৰে লিখা লেক ভিউ বুলি কিবা তো এইটো মই এটা মানে সুপাৰ লাগিল ইভেন অৰ্ঘদীপে যি ক'লে মই সেইটো অলপ ষ্ট্ৰেচ কৰি লৈ যাওঁ যে আমি সদায় ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰৰ পাৰতো কেতিয়াবা আমি বহুতে ফুৰিব যায় একো কৰিব নালাগে ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰৰ যে এই যে বৃহৎ ভাৱটো এই যে তাৰ ইমান ব্যাপক এটা সেইটো চাই নিজক কেতিয়াবা আমি যদি খুব গৰ্বিত হৈ যাওঁ যে আমাৰ এচিভমেন্ট লৈ যদি আমি খুব গৰ্বিত হৈ যাওঁ ব্ৰহ্মপুত্ৰৰ পাৰত বহি দিলে অলপমান টাইম সেই সব ওলাই যায় বোলে হাউ স্মল ইন দা হোল কনটেক্সট ময়ো কেতিয়াবা ভাবো যে আমি ইমান গৰ্বিত কিন্তু ৰাতি যেতিয়া শুওঁ কেতিয়া ভাবো যে এই এটা বলৰ ওপৰত আমি বহি আছো আৰু বলটো ঘূৰিয়ে আছে মানে আৰু আমি গৰ্বিত মানে এইটোৰ লগত নিমিলে আমাৰ গৰ্ব হোৱাৰ কাৰণে এটা বল ঘূৰি আছে তাৰ ওপৰত বহি আছো তাৰ ওপৰত আমি গৰ্বিত so really you gave a different taste to that whole conversation so মই যাম এতিয়া শীৰ্ষেন্দু তাত শীৰ্ষেন্দু মই যাম মানে মই তাক বহু বছৰ ধৰিয়ে দেখি আছো হি মানে কয় ন খোৱা খানা পিনা সোনা ধোনা সব প্লাষ্টিক পলিউশন প্লাষ্টিক পলিউশন মানে মই তাক জোকিংলি কৈছো আৰু এবাৰ দুবাৰ যে হয়তো পৃথিৱীত বহুতে কয় ন যে মানুহৰ কিয় পৃথিৱীত দৰকাৰ why we are here আমাৰ এইটো এটা প্ৰশ্ন থাকে এটা লং ফিলসফিক্যাল প্ৰশ্ন what is so হয়তো maybe we are here only to make plastic কাৰণ পৃথিৱীয়ে নিজে প্লাষ্টিক নিজে বনাব পৰা নাই পৃথিৱীৰ হয়তো প্লাষ্টিকৰ দৰকাৰ কিন্তু বনাব পৰা নাই তো পৃথিৱী needed us to make plastic and do the মানে বনাইছিলে ভাল পিছত pollution আৰম্ভ হৈ গ'ল so now earth is suffering so Shishendu I just wanted to know যে যদি তুমি মাইক অন কৰি দিয়া তেনেহলে ভালকে শুনা পাম
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
so tell me about have you ever visited this Sola Beel?
Yes, yes. I had visited just like strolling. Of course, I had visited before, but twice. Like one, I visited just 2 days back with Rupankar, and before that, once with another solid waste management expert. She came from Bangalore. So these are the 2 times I have went for proper observation. But yeah, for strolls, of course, for cycling and all that, walking, of course, I have gone.
Okay. Now tell
many
me,
times.
tell me, did you see some pollution here and there? I see that Horu Sola Beel. I had a participant in our mind who lives near Sola Beel, but he had an accident and we could not, like, he was not able to come. We will also the biggest stakeholder will be the person living near Sola Beel. They are the main person. So what do you think about, like, in urban area, because habitat restoration, when you say habitat restoration in terms of urban habitat, pollution is one of the biggest problem in habitat destruction or habitat degradation in urban area. So how do you what do you do basically? What you people had a group. I think you can just introduce a bit about your group and tell me what we should do. This plastic pollution is creating havoc. Like, most of the thing is single-use plastic, because we see that bottles and plastic bottles can be the rag pickers take them because there is a value associated with it. But the packet of chips and the small the thinnest plastic bags and all, there are no takers for them. So what do you see on ground in Guwahati? What is your opinion on ground?
So, sir, actually, this is a very good question that you said, that the last part, exactly what you said, that when we are talking about plastic pollution regarding plastic bottles and all, they have a value. But the other things like packets, they don't have a value. So last year, we started this project called Power of 300 with the intention of making these things valuable, or actually, how can we do that? And maybe just in a small sense, I'd say in 1 year, we have collected 300 kilos of soft plastics, which are just packets, and entire thing have got recycled. We are currently working with a certain recycling center in Guwahati itself. And all we are collecting is no bottles, no cardboards, nothing. Only those polythene bags, packets, even chips packets. Chips packets to biscuit packets, everything. Okay. So basically, these people that have the dream of going zero waste, so we are giving them the option now that if they do it at home, if the GMC doesn't collect, if the rag picker doesn't take, we are there to take it. And we have been collecting it from 1 year. But coming to certain observations, I want to say first, like when I went with Rupankar, the first, I'll start with this area where there is a transfer station in Chabipul area, where the entire waste is kept by the municipality. So last 2 years back, when I went with a ma'am called Almitra Patel, she's a waste management expert, we observed one thing, that there are lots of bubbles in this area, and like we were just thinking of what is this? We don't know what is this. Why are these bubbles coming? So we went at the back of the transfer station and we saw that a pipe was coming from the transfer station and transferring the liquid into this water of the bill. We went inside and we saw that they're using something called as a compactor. A compactor is used to compact the entire waste so that it could be easily loaded in the truck. When this solid waste is compacted, there's a lot of liquid we call as leachate in technical terms. It comes out and it's directly, in its concentrated form, it's thrown in this Sola Beel directly. And we saw that. So we went at the back side and then ma'am took a bamboo. She's like around 75 years old actually. She took a bamboo and she started hitting the waters, like that. And what we could see that the bubble started increasing. So she told that she said that as a conclusion that a lot of biodegradable waste is being dumped, is under the water already. Which is releasing methane. Very high emissions of methane is happening. So when she disturbed the base of that area, the methane emissions increased. So that is a first thing that, and then I checked, I think Aniket has also, in the website, there are many good information being provided.
Okay, just I will just stop you for sorry about that. I actually you gave a very good point. So I will request all of you. There is a website that we have created on Sola Beel. Apart from the video, you will get the video there as well. So Aniket, if you can just share it in the message box, the website, and
Okay.
we will also provide you website individually, or maybe in the group we will provide the website. So that website contains as much as data we can gather about Sola Beel, as much as Aniket, can you just say the website for everyone once so that they can hear it? We do not have.
I've shared the link on
Okay.
website.
So this is insideout.wixsite.co.com/wetlands. Okay. So we do not have money as of now for anything. So we have just did a free website, and maybe in the times we'll make it like, you know, if public support is there, we'll go on full Monty and do something good with the website. For as of now, there is the website with all the data and details as much as we can provide you, so that you can read after we have finished this discussion. Plus, there is a video that Rupankar already showed. But apart from that, there is a petition signing place. You can just see there is that petition. So this is directed to Chief Minister of Assam, that petition we have created for conservation of Sola Beel. I encourage all of you, if you feel like I love it, if you can just sign that petition, and not only you sign it. See, I don't know if petition will help, because I have seen many petitions that do not help. But what is the most important? Many people ask me like, why Sola Beel? Like, what will you do? Like, many people have tried and they fail. So it's no harm trying. But the next thing is that many people do not know about Sola Beel. So the whole initiative will be a success for the smaller perspective if you know about Sola Beel. The knowledge is, I don't want you tomorrow to go Sola Beel and clean it up. But even if you know Sola Beel, there will be many people, and you can share it with people that there is a Sola Beel. Many young people will be there who do not know the word Sola Beel. Orgodip himself admitted that in 2020 till 2020 he was unaware of this term Sola Beel. So many of us are too busy with some other sports like Kaziranga and all. So that petition, if you sign, it may not help, but it will raise awareness. You share it with other people, they will also sign, but as a result, they will also maybe read something about Sola Beel. They will hear the Sola Beel for the first time. That is also supporting the cause. It's not about always going with a jhadu and cleaning the drain. Sometimes it's creating a pressure where the jhadu wala will himself come and clean the drain. It's not always you yourself going to clean the drain. Anyway, Shishendu, thank you. You just carry on.
Yeah. So I was just saying that from the resources that I got from the website, in that place, it's also written about the BOD level, you know, in red, means which is high, which means the biodegradable materials in the water is already high in the drains as well as in the water of the Beel. So that's what I saw today actually. So that day ma'am had just said by her observations, but today I also saw in data that it's the same thing. That is one point. But I saw more when I went with Rupankar, being frank, and I told him I saw more solutions than problem actually over there.
Great.
And because something I saw which I didn't see anywhere in Guwahati, they have a biomethanation unit running since 2018, and the capacity is 5 tons per day, 5,000 kilos of wet waste. They are they are ready to take as raw materials to process and produce electricity. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I didn't see a lot of street lights in that area, which means there's a need of electricity also in that area. And the people are facing problem definitely because I think I should not use that word because a lot of things are going on regarding that. But me and Rupankar were talking, and people were talking to us about drug abuse happening right there, right in the area of the biomethanation plant, where there is no street light. Energy is getting produced by wet waste, and this energy is not being used for the last 2 years. So we saw and the people were very helpful. The people we met who are working there, they're related to the municipality. They allowed me to took photographs of the inside part also, and they told me that they accept the wet waste, but the energy that they are producing, they have not set up any pipes. The electricity is getting generated, but there is no output as of now. So first thing is, there's a huge scope of the wet waste not going to the bill but going there. And I asked them that if we could train the local NGO to collect segregated waste, will you take it? So they were more than happy. They said, we have made the plan to use it, right? Not to, and they're running low. They're not getting 5,000 kilos per day. The reason why it was made for, they're not anyways getting it. They have to go to restaurants and the markets, which are far away to get. But unfortunately, they're not getting it. That is one thing. And for dry waste, there are two. One is the transfer station. That is one, because they collect segregated dry waste there. I had checked last time and even now. They collect segregated waste over there. And even just by the side of biomethanation plant, me and Rupankar checked, there is another, scrap dealer working there. And we had a discussion with them also that what if, this area starts segregating, will you collect? They were very happy. They said, why not? If the area starts segregating waste, we are there. So the situation is that in that one bylane, there are 3 infrastructure ready to take the waste and to use it and process it right there. Not even a motorized vehicle is not needed in that area to solve the problem of waste. Nothing is needed. Even just a tricycle would be great over there to just transport the waste from the home to these centers. So what is needed is awareness. The infrastructure is right there. That's what I saw.
Correct. So this is really brilliant the way you have put it, Shishindu, and I just loved it. And I think, as you say, there are more scopes than challenges. That was brilliant, and this is how we should, as an environmentalist, we should see. So if you are seeing more challenges than scope, then you start with a hopeless condition, and then you are demoralized. So whatever be the situation, we start with a positive, and there is something positive. There is a lot of positive that we need to channelize. So I'll just request all of you, it's not like asking anybody anything or please feel free to give your inputs, and as we carry on forward to our discussion, you see, we are discussing very informal. It's not like something very hardcore or something like that. I don't bother if it is a very high class discussion or not, but if we are delivering to the cause, that's the thing what we need. And more people, more mind are involved, there will be more solutions. So if anybody of you in the whole thing come up with something, just be ready. We'll come over to you. And if anybody is ready right now, please just unmute and tell your name.
I just
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I just wanted to add one
Yes,
thing. While talking, when we visited, me and Shishanduda, we also have seen another plus point. Like, there is a huge growth of water hyacinth over there. So even the water hyacinth, it's like we were discussing with the people, whoever were working over there. We say that, "Bhaiya, water hyacinth ka kya karte ho?" They said, "Ye to kachra hai." So then after discussion, we came to a point that they are also ready to try, like take the water hyacinth, put it in the plant, and they can also generate the same, like the way we were collecting, they were also running after biodegradable waste, right? So this is a place, like on the right hand side, you get the water hyacinths for the raw material, and on the left hand side, there is a plant already, like a fully proper plant. So this is how also another point that,
And Rupankar is too much modest, not saying that Rupankar himself is in need of water hyacinth, because he has just
already going through a project, and we have tried making, and we have already made. paper from water hyacinth. So we are already on the project. So we are trying to make
Make paper out of water, and Dipankar is in charge of that project. So he has made some beautiful paper, and we are planning to do something great with the paper, because at certain point of a certain amount, water I think also is an ecological waste at one point of time if it is overproduction is there. So yeah, somebody was telling something. Please go ahead. We need your support. Abhishek Chakraborty.
Yeah, I am Dr. Sushant Sharma
Okay,
from
Sushant.
Department of Zoology, Aryabhita College.
Sushant, please go ahead.
First of all, thanks a lot for giving such a platform on such a popular day on 5th June, World Environment Day. First thing I want to add here that this solar park can rightly be compared with Sola Beel as a wetland Ramsar site, rather than with Kaziranga and all. And this solar park, as Sensor has rightly recalled many incidents of his childhood. So for myself concerned, I also remember to observe a particular pool lighting near Nepali Mandir. Down there were some bill, and just by the bank of the bill, the washmen used to dry the clothes. That is my childhood experience, most probably in the year 1984-85 in the year. I too have such experience. So when Sensor told his experience that this bill extended till Blue Hill bus station, the matter just haunted in my mind that I had disclosed. Now, what do I feel that before taking any further step, writing petition or trying to get any help from the government, we first of all should focus why do we require a Ramsar site, a wetland area in that particular area. So what is the importance of such a bill-like thing in our urban lifestyle ecologically? And those forecasts should be made. Yes, lots of steps has been taken as deciphering the information to YouTube, etc. The general mass awareness, the importance of Ramsar site ecologically, from ecological point of view, have to be highlighted, because once the mass is not aware of any importance of a particular site, nothing importance is going to be get by solar power like area. So the most important thing is that more highlights should be put forward, again, why we require this Ramsar site, this wetland area, what is the importance on this ecological point of view, and a campaign should be start from today. From 5th June, we should all act, the participants here, let's us all together make a forum to fight, to propaganda, to raise our voice, to create a particular, to save this particular Sola Beel. Along with it, not only Sola Beel, in our vicinity, there are so many places. If we remember Rajgarh area, we are not thinking about the Rajgarh area, but we do have some experiences in our older days. We had seen so many bills in Rajgarh area, and we also see some potholes at present in Rajgarh area, like Onil Nagar, Naveen Nagar, who these places always suffer during rainy season, become overflooded. So there are many roles to serve in the urban lifestyle by this particular wetland. They absorb the surplus flood water, but together with it, we should also think that this particular wetland has lots to do to keep balance in ecology. So when the human mass is not aware of any importance about anything, then no one is going to do about anything. As for example, today we are observing 5th June as World Environment Day, because we selfish humans have ultimately realized that some indirect effect is being caused by our harassment, stress that we are providing for our greediness to our environment. That is why we are observing this 5th June and all, and we are paying such a head, because we human beings are always selfish.
Correct.
And
Correct.
Another thing I want to point that this particular wetland have become very prone. I want to disclose this matter. I don't care if there is any risk for me. This particular wetland has become very prone to certain mafia-like people who always try to encroach these particular places. As we can see, Sola Beel is dying off, and Solapar area is just at the point of extinct.
Correct.
It is going to be extinct for hardly after I think less than 10 years, less than 10 years or 15 years, we are not going to see solar power, I think. So what is the thing is that a mass campaign should start up to
Yes.
save this particular wetland, not only solar power,
Correct.
many wetland in our
True,
urban.
true.
So thank
Yeah,
you. I
Dada.
want to say.
Thank you. So I just on that note, I wanted to Dadaji Kole. So I just request Dadar ki hoya se, he is a professor, the teacher in Arjo Vidyapit College in the zoology department. He teaches there. So he has lots of students under his disposal. Many students come there. So I request Dada that you can assign some of your students some projects regarding Sola Beel, and we can also partner there, and we can also whatever strength we have, we'll all the support or logistic support, whatever we have, we'll in that period of time will provide. So I also obviously Shoibal Sengupta sir is also associated with Don Bosco University, and he can also assign some students to that cause. Yeah, I'll come back to sir. And anybody who is here as a teacher who is around Guwahati, I'll just request them, like, if you people like give more projects in this field, then more people will be aware, and some results will come out. Anyway, I'll go to Shoibal Sengupta sir, who was just trying to say something. And in between, if you have, sir, your mic is off. In between, if you have other question, just get ready with your question,
Yeah.
and I'll come back to you. Yes, sir.
Let the question be asked.
No, I'll if no, there is no question as of now, but they can just remember, they can just find out the question, rather than question, discuss, give us points and pointers how to go ahead with it. Just Shushantoda just told that we can go for a bigger campaign, and for bigger campaign we need students, college students, press, and people like Orgodip and all, who can really mobilize masses, who have the power. We have data, but we do not have that power. So Orgodip and all other people can help us in this way. So why not just stick to this wetland? Deeporville we have done enough. So there will be other bodies will be doing bigger bodies, but for this Sola Beel we can really act. So sir, you were telling something.
Yeah, I support your view. We should stick to one, and this will be the example for preserving other wetlands as well. Now, the first thing is that in continuation of I believe Argadi Burwa,
Yes.
if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
recreation. Yes, recreation is very essential, because we are in a very, as he stated, we are actually maintaining a very fast life, and recreation will help in releasing the stress. So in that case, Sola Beel will play a very important role.
Yes, you do not have to go 25 kilometers. As
Yeah, that's a walking down, and what we have done earlier. Will you believe there was a bridge between Chattibari and Rihabari across the Sola Beel? Some actually a concrete remnant is still there, and we used to cross through this bridge to go to Rocket Field to play. Okay, let's come back.
Yeah.
That's the Shishindu is doing, and also Rupankar doing fantastic work. However, what I have observed, these things has to be, this entire Sola Beel is very porous. There are multiple point of entry of this waste, not only liquid, but also solid waste, direct, multiple points. So first we have to make it that there should be some area where this being point of entry of the waste. Second thing, regarding Rupankars, yeah, there are lots of water hyacinths are available there. And this water hyacinth, not only you are making paper, I have seen Jaditya knows, Rituraj in the bank, at the bank of Deeporville, small cottage industry, and they're making some this mats, etc., and selling it out. So that also can be, that people can be involved, because there are lots of poor people around, those who are actually settlers, encroachers more or less, but settlers, they can be involved, and that will help in clearing the bin. And the third thing is this regarding the restoration. when the GMD has started this beautification of Sola Beel, we actually contacted a person from, not a person, an NGO from Ahmedabad, and they were interested to apply their knowledge about which they had restored some of the lakes over there, here, but we could not fulfill that. And regarding mass movement, will you believe or not, আমি সত্যাগ্ৰহ কৰিছিলো 100 জনৰ 200-150 জন মানুহ বহি সত্যাগ্ৰহ কৰিছিলো জাজস্কট ফিল্ডত আমি ধৰ্ণা দিছিলো যে নলিনী দেৱী পাৰ্কত বহি সকলো কৰিছো তেতিয়া আমাৰ তাত এমএলও আহিছে বিৰাজ শৰ্মা ডাঙৰীয়া আহিছে তেখেত প্ৰতিশ্ৰুতি দিছে গোটেইখিনি হৈছে কিন্তু কামৰ কাম কিন্তু আমি একো কৰিব পৰা নাই মইতো কৈছো মই ফ্ৰাষ্ট্ৰেটেড হৈছো কিন্তু এতিয়া যেতিয়া আগবাঢ়ি আহিছে আপোনালোকে গতিকে মই ভাবো এতিয়া একটু সফল হ'ব আৰু লেটস টেক টুডে এ প্লেজ আমি একটা প্লেজ লম যে এই যে পলিথিন হয় Shishindu, you are doing excellent work with polythene. There's recycling. Who was talking about this recycling of polythene? Kintu polythene is not only actually clogging Dipper Bill, clogging every drain and other aquatic bodies. Let's take a pledge today. We will avoid polythene. Ami polythene ব্যবহার avoid korim. By avoidance, we can actually reduce the consumption of polythene. Just avoidance. I mean, avoid kori. Maro akono kori. Avoid kori. I mean, no.
So the Saror etu khub bhal point ache.
Okay, so I would like to make a small introduction. Chiradip Bosak, sir, one of our panelists is here.
Okay. Thank you. I'm so thankful to him that he finally joined. I think everything is okay with him. He can just I'll go to Chandrani, who has maybe some points to make. I'll go back, but I'm just if he can our Boshak sir, if he can just switch on the camera and we can see him.
Actually, I'm on my way back.
Okay.
So that is the reason. In fact, while this situation happened, I was in between a webinar delivering a lecture, and then I had to rush to the hospital. I had to take my wife, but now she's stable. So
I'm so happy to hear that. I am so happy to hear that.
That is the reason I just texted Aniket about this, that I'll try my best to be there if I'm back. Thankfully, the hospital is near my place, so somehow. Anyways, so I think I missed out Argodeep's remarks, I believe, but somehow I managed to listen to Shishendu, and Rupankar also is talking about some of these activities they are all engaged with. So I think from legal perspective, because I understand one thing for sure, that when it comes to environmental activism, you guys are already doing a great job. And in fact, Shishendu, he mentioned about Almitra Patel. I'm very glad to know that you know her personally, and I would definitely love to meet her in person someday, because she is the lady, in fact, who's also behind several important landmark judgments. Almitra Patel is the person when it comes to waste management. There are many such landmark judgments, not only from Supreme Court of India, but also from National Green Tribunal. And she has been consistently fighting for this particular cause. And I'm really happy that she is also engaged in activities, especially in the Northeast, which in fact, as we all know, is quite rich when it comes to biological resources. Now, before I get into some of the points that I wanted to make with respect to from legal perspective, because we do have all these laws, activism is of course necessary. It should go hand in hand. And we do also know that because of the laws, many a times the activisms also face certain hiccups. And at the same point of time, because of the laws, activism can also take it as a weapon or a tool or technique to ensure the state machinery to implement that. So since you are talking about, and in fact, I believe a while back, Professor of Zoology was talking about Ramsar site and Dipper Bill getting all the attention, irrespective of the fact that it does, it deserves and it got all the attention, but still Dipor Bill, even being it's a Ramsar site, which is of course part of an international commitment, and Ramsar site is, as per the Ramsar Convention, deserves some special treatment. But irrespective of that, what we have seen and what we are still witnessing is that there are several such factors which in fact is affecting Dipor Bill. And there is nothing which new I'm saying in here. Encroachment is just one side of it, but there are other aspects also. Solid waste disposal is another factor. But we do also have to keep in mind the ecosystem services which are related to this factor. Because today, in fact, World Environment Day, that's what they call it. But I believe every day is Environment Day. But still, when it comes to World Environment Day this year, in fact, the theme is ecosystem restoration. And this is in consonance with the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, which is going to start from this year itself. And by 2030, they're talking about ecosystem restoration. Theoretically, it appears very ambitious, although when it comes to the exact meaning of ecosystem restoration, going by the legal definition of it, even technical definition of it, one thing is quite sure, that we are not going to get back what exactly it was. The endeavor is to just bring it closer to that situation. We might not get absolute restoration, because somewhere in between, we talk about resilience, we talk about sustainable development, but resilience and sustainable development is acting as a mediator between this transition that we are talking about. They are two different regimes. The regime we are right now, of course, it is also proportional to the social factor, the social problem, because laws, institutions, activism, in fact, I believe also reflects what the society wants. Laws, institutions, and entities, on the other hand, even scientific factor, it ensures that what we can get. But first and foremost, we do need to realize whether as a whole, as a society, we do really want the ecosystem to get restored. We do really want the remediation of the restitution. If we believe that there are certain mafia or certain entities engaged in certain activities, be it with respect to illegal mining or be it with respect to human encroachment, we have to also understand that from where these are all coming. These are, of course, these are all related to the demand that is created because of the consumer pattern that is changing. It's because of poor urban planning. Yes, you can say poor urban planning, sustainable development goals also talks about it. But at the end of the day, it is also the demand factor, which is in fact related to all these per capita consumption, which is immensely changing over a period of time. Although we have been telling that the developed countries are the one which has very higher per capita consumption, so comparatively their per capita emission is higher. But we, on the other hand, as a developed country, are not. But things are changing, because the market demands so. And that is the reason we are talking about commodification of these ecosystem resources. So when it comes to ecosystem services also, we do have to also keep in mind that how to bring a balance. Maybe we won't be in a position to restore it absolutely, because it is a highly ambitious thing, but we can put an endeavor to do that. Now, we do also have to keep in mind, say, for example, be it respect to Dipor Bill or be it with respect to Sola Beel, Dipor Bill especially, I believe there is an angle of sustenance and livelihood also involved in there. There are certain communities who are also relying on the resources which they derive out of Dipor Bill, the fishing community. Now, if you have to look into that perspective, you do also have to realize the aesthetic value and the ecosystem services which is related to that. Now, coming to the context of so-called the Sola Beel, in fact, if you are well aware, I'm sure because you people are into activism and you are well versed with that, and you have the ground knowledge about it. But just to appraise the listeners, there is a timeline of this entire situation. And then I'll point out a law which is there somehow, but it is dormant, or I would rather say it is not at all in existence, and then I'll conclude. And very briefly, I'll do that in a very succinct fashion. So if you see the chronology, or so-called the timeline of this particular wetlands called Sola Beel, in fact, it all started way back in 1965, if I'm not wrong, when the state government itself decided, they in fact proposed that they will save all these wetlands from extinction. Subsequently, 20 years from then, because 72 was the year when Stockholm Conference was happening, Indira Gandhi was also active in that particular conference. And India also started talking about it. We came up with several legislation. 72, we came up with Wildlife Protection Act. Then in 1986, because of Bhopal gas tragedy, we came up with the Environment Protection Act. Subsequently, so on and so forth. In fact, in 92, when we all met again in the International Forum in Rio, people started talking about environment and development, because between 72 and 1992, in between this 20 years, somewhere in 86, it was the brainchild of certain, of course, our common future, the Brundtland report, which tabled this concept of sustainable development, which in fact not only talks about the present and the future generations' equity, but it also talks about integration of economic welfare and ecological concerns. So when you talk about such integration, the balance is the major challenging fact. So somehow 92 was crucial. So 1972 Stockholm Conference was on United Nations Conference on Human Environment. And you see the title. In 92, it became United Nations Conference on Human Environment and Development. So the key word now chipped in between. And now they started talking about sustainable development. So similarly, subsequently in 1995, in fact, in 1995, during July, if I'm not wrong, a resolution was also adopted in India by a high-level committee in this particular state of Assam. And in fact, it involved the Revenue Department of the Assam, and they decided in that resolution way back in July 1995, the Revenue Department decided that they will cancel all the allotments which were in fact made in and around any wetlands area. They decided it. But subsequently, in fact, in 1997, the prime focus was towards Deepor Bill. And in fact, because of that, they established a body called Deepor Bill Management Authority. Okay, I'm going back and forth, Deepor Bill, Sola Beel, so that I can relate that timeline. So they created this management authority way back in 1997. So we didn't have any wetland conservation law back then, but the state government at that point of time created a body. So the concern was there. The concern of conservation was there. Also the concern of development was there. But somehow, if you see, even till date, this particular Deepor Bill Management Authority, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, it's still not functional. Then subsequently in 2000, there is an organization which I'm sure you are all aware of, Sola Beel Unnayan Samiti. And it is the so-called the body which has been kind of very active through litigation also, because they have drawn several such attention with respect to this particular wetland. And in 2001, in Guwahati High Court, in fact, when they approached the Sola Beel Unnayan Samiti, they approached the High Court, and the High Court, in fact, directed the state government in 2001 to take all the necessary measures which is required to ensure this particular bill and other wetlands also in the state capital of so-called Assam itself, to take proper measures to protect all the wetlands. Even subsequently in 2002, I believe, Ministry of Environment and Forest directed the Assam government to take certain measures, and complete all the operations against encroachments. And they set a target by 2002 September. This is what the central government directed Assam government way back in 2001. And they set the date 2002. So that is another thing. You have also chemistry which goes on between state government and central government. If they are kind of a different political parties, then there is a friction. And if it isn't, then all they go hand in hand. Subsequently, in 2006, I believe, even the district administration in 2006, they have decided and they declared it is because of the district administration, Sola Beel, and if I'm not wrong, the Bor Sola and Sola Beel. Both of these bills were declared as reserved wetlands. But somewhere in between, GMC also failed to ensure that the dumping of these solid waste and all these water bodies should stop, but they failed to do that. In fact, irrespective of the fact, high courts repeated intervention, even civil society organization also. And if I'm not wrong, Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council also, they also started an action way back. They started desilting and digging project at Deepor Bill with certain objectives. So this way or the other, this situation in fact continued for a really long time. And we do also have to realize the fact that when it comes to the Revenue Department, when it also started recognizing the rights associated with those areas, it in fact affected. And there is another factor which is in fact quite significant in here. Now, my last point over here is that it in fact continues. In fact, major such changes happened right there from 2004 and 2006, because if I'm not wrong, in 2006, the Revenue Department itself allotted a land to a particular college and a particular eye hospital. Now, you will ask me that from legal perspective, how can they do that? Now, even if you talk about land acquisition laws, the state, in fact, we have state land reform laws, land acquisition laws are also there. which in fact has a clause of public purposes. So when it comes to hospitals, when it comes to roads, when it comes to educational institutions, you can in fact acquire a particular land which might be also sensitive in nature. And there comes the major challenge, because there's a question of public interest, the greater good factor, and balancing them is also a difficult task. Supreme Court, NGTs, they've been trying to do that. There are really some good judgments, and there are also blunders by the judiciary, with all due respect to the judges. So somehow, somewhere, this also has happened. In fact, some businessmen also reap benefit out of the land which was allotted by the very revenue department itself. So that way, the localities, in fact, some of these localities also started emerging in this area illegally, which in fact were extracted from the wetland itself. So several such areas got affected. Again, if I'm not wrong, Sola Beel Unnayan Samiti, they again moved to the High Court. They again asked the Honorable High Court to issue contempt of court, because the direction of the High Courts was not followed. In fact, High Court itself formed a if I'm not wrong, there was a 2 members bench which presided over this particular judgment, which was filed by Unnayan Samiti secretary. If I'm not wrong, his name is Biplab Ananda Chaudhary, if I'm not wrong. So he was also an active part of it. So this way or the other, there's several such things which eventually happened. Even with respect to encroachments, clearing the encroachment, there was something, a drive which started, I believe, Save Guwahati, Build Guwahati Drive, SGBG, which in fact urged the state government itself and even the district administration to clear all these encroachments across the wetlands, which is in fact also affecting the natural drainage of it. But somehow in 2008, after all these hullabaloo, which started way back in 75, but the friction emerged and finally, when it started gaining momentum, the legislator also realized, the lawmakers also realized that it's high time, because in a neighboring state from where I come, West Bengal, we do also have wetlands. And there is also a law in place which was in fact guiding that particular wetland. So similarly, in fact, for Guwahati itself, the state legislation called Guwahati Water Bodies Prevention and Conservation Act, I repeat, Guwahati Water Bodies Prevention and Conservation Act of 2008 was enacted. And with this enactment, because the real objective of this legislation, if you just refer to that, is to not only protect and preserve or conserve, but also regulate and maintain the water bodies. Water bodies in the sense, not only wetlands, but also other water bodies in and around. So there is a limited scope, but still it was quite significant, first of its kind for this particular state. But that was not just the end, because this was just 2008. And similarly, certain, as I've already said, litigation was going on, and certain non-Samiti was also filing cases, and Guwahati High Court was also issuing directions. And as usual, the administration also ignored those directions. So the point over here is that in the midst of all this thing, centrally, there was a legislation which was put forward. The Wetlands Conservation Rules, which came in the year 2010, just 2 years after Guwahati came up with this Water Bodies Act. And this 2010 legislation, so-called rules, Wetlands Conservation Rules, it was also further amended in 2017. And if you see the 2017 rules, it in fact talks that each and every state, they should have a state wetland conservation authority, something which in fact Guwahati did. In fact, government of Assam did way back, but it was not functional. Even if I'm not wrong, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Port Bill Management Authority, which was in a way established way back in 1997. Just imagine. So they were ahead of time, but they never actually, in fact, they visualized, but they never actually brought that into reality because of n number of reasons, I'm sure. Many of these reasons are not disclosed maybe. But now, even when you have a central legislation, which in fact directs the state government to also come up with a state authority, you have not done it. And there is also an operational guidelines with respect to this particular rules, which came in the year 2017 with respect to wetlands conservation. And if you refer to that operational guideline, here is the thing which in fact is a solution, I believe, from legal perspective. If the state creates the authority, first and foremost, the state should create the authority. If the state has already created the authority, then where are the details? Who are the members? Because if I'm not wrong, be secretary level membership from all the departments, including forest and environment, so on and so forth. But alongside, the operational guidelines also says that this wetland authority should also have two committees. One is a technical committee, which will usually review all the managerial and all those basic documentation and advise on technical matters, because you people are mostly from technical backgrounds. Shishindu and all, they were talking about the technological aspects. But it also has another committee called grievance committee. And this grievance committee should comprises of 4 members who will provide the mechanism for hearing and even forwarding the grievances which are raised by public to the authority. So if as an individual or even as a civil society organization, if we have a grievance with respect to any particular wetlands or any particular area, which irrespective of the fact that it is not a Ramsar site, we can approach the grievance committee, which should be taken. So there is something which the law has already prescribed. But whether it has been really created and whether it is really functional, that is what. In fact, if you see near Guwahati University, I believe, if I'm not wrong, there is an office which is coming up of Brahmaputra board, if I'm not wrong. So now people can also ask that, okay, this is also a nice place. Now you're creating an authority which is quite active. So why not for the wetlands itself? Why not create a wetland office, in fact, nearby a wetland, if you really want to do it? And why don't we make it functional? Why don't you create these committees and ensure at least do what is the, in fact, I understand, I come from law background and many people, they don't like lawyers. I'm not a lawyer though, but they have this common question. There are many laws, you people of law talks about law, you talk about law and there is no implementation and all, but we are all contributing to the violation. So the point is that civil society organizations have also been suppressed in several locations by imbibing certain laws which are even not related to environment, but rather with respect to terrorism. But the thing is that, we do have to realize this, and we do have to also hit those points which they are supposed to do. This is what I can, in fact, table in here with my limited knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bosak. This was really excellent. So I would like, this is just for everyone, and I'll come back to people who wants to give their inputs. But I would like to tell you that this is just the beginning or the stepping stone of the reviving of the whole thing. So we would need many people from many fraternity to be gelling together for a greater cause of saving Sola Beel. And many people in the message has written that why not other bill and many other bills. What will happen is that we can make the Sola Beel initiative, if we are successful enough, to make an example for the lot, because the more bill we are handling, the less will be our energy. So we should focus all our energy to a single cause, and if we are successful enough, the other bills will automatically, taking our example, will start their own share of activism, and we can also do that in near future, but we have to take one at a time, otherwise it becomes difficult. So I know the emotion that there are many bills, but we have to stick to one that really is very, very vulnerable. And I thank again Mr. Bosak, and I would like to tell you that we would be in contact with you, and we need your guidance and help in this whole scenario, because the background that you are in from and we lack your expertise, and we need your support. And I thank you again. Now, yeah.
Just 1 minute. I would like to add something to Mr. Bosak's presentation. It was an excellent one. I don't know. I can't remember now. In the last century, there was some either act or order for the conservation of wetland from the government, and Biplab fight the case with that order, and finally we got a verdict to remove all the encroachment. And from the revenue department, all the allotment along the side of the this depot bill in the Professor Para area was actually allotment were cancelled. But ultimately, just before election, at the time, Honorable Chief Minister was Hitesh Shoikia, and at the time, just before election, one body was actually allotments was actually cancellation was again cancelled. That means allotment remained, and that was Gorkha something. And it was by the influence. So political influence has influence of then MP Subba, MP Subba from Tejpur. He was actually under his pressure or guidance, that cancellation order being withdrawn. So I would like to ask just whether there was some info, I can't remember order or act of this wetland conservation of Assam.
I believe, Professor Sengupta, it was Guwahati Guwahati Water Bodies Preservation and Conservation Act of 2008, if I'm not wrong. But because this is the legislation which came before 2010 Wetlands Conservation Act. But anyways, I'll definitely look into the case and I'll let you know. I'll let you know through Inside Out organization the details. If I come across the judgment also, I might be in a position to share that. So I'll do that.
I was also a part of this Undan committee.
Because when there are these kind of cases, Professor, I believe not just one law that comes into, under the radar. In fact, if you refer to this wetland related conservation, you will also come across other legislations like in many cases like Forest Act, even Wildlife Protection Act, even with respect to Dipore Bill, Wildlife Protection Act can also come into existence. Water Pollution Prevention of Act also can come into existence. Solid municipal waste rules also can come into existence. So not just one law, but yes, some law will definitely give the thrust. But yes, the other laws are also significantly important in here. But definitely, I'll look into it and I'll get back to you on this.
Mr. Bashak, I will collect all this from Biplav. I do have, but I could not find anything now. I will collect it from Biplav and I will supply it to you. So
that would be even better. Yes, that would be even better.
So actually, when we were discussing that, when we conceptualized this is what we dreamed for. That building a network where we really on ground achieve something, so we can become the bridge, and we have, and all of you who are there, who can, in whatever respect you can help, we would really seek your help and guidance. And Mr. Boshak can help us with all the rules and all. It will be really great if he can. So we'll revert back to him after this program and in coming time. So now we'll go to some points that I think Chandrani was the first one, and then I'll come to Abhishek. So Chandrani, if you wanted to give some insight or input in the whole thing.
Hello everyone, and very good evening. And this is a very informative session for me. And what I feel is that, like, I have searched since morning about some write-ups on Sola Beel or something, and it's very sad that I couldn't find a single one. So the awareness which I hardly know about the bill, staying in the in the middle of city, some bill is there. So it's very shocking for me, like a huge area where the city's ecology was dependent, which is vanishing now. By every day it's reducing its size. So for me, it's very interesting, how the wetlands of our city is reducing its size. And as a journalistic prospect, I also wanted to ask the professor that what was the area of that particular wetland when it was during his time, when he told us about he saw this, and the Lakeview restaurant was there, and also the place was a nice place to visit, in fact. So what was the area? And if we can go to satellite back, if we can get some data, how the wetland is shrinking in the middle of the city.
Thank
also
you.
Also another thing is that as Mr. Bashak said, that the Guwahati Water Body Prevention and Conservation, so it's also there that the authority in the nodal department, which is identified as the professional or maybe organization that would assist them in the various functions, such as preparing a list of wetlands said by the guidelines. So every thrice year there should be a meeting of this organization. So if that meeting was being held, and who are the members, if we can find that, so it will be helpful for us to get more data regarding the bill.
So yeah, this is a good question. So I'll go first. I'll just request Chandrani also, because she's a journalist and she's writing in lots of international, highly acclaimed international journals and magazines. So maybe she can take up this issue, and we would love to supply more data and maybe some courts, verdicts, and what from 0 to 100, whatever we have. And the one important point she made was there is nothing she could find. So means what, we have to create that something that people like her can find in internet when she searches. So we have to create that. It is the high time that we create that. So that is how awareness will spread and people would know. So we have a Chandrani, we have a website now, which is there in the link. So you may get some details there. So for your initial question that Shoibal sir about the areas, Shoibal sir, can you just, because he told me that almost half it was twice as it is now, what I heard from him.
Yeah, actually what we have seen, forget about the other side, that is Solapar. This side, what we have seen, we have lost almost 30 to 40%. I do have a map and also some documents on this. And there were some paper cuttings when we actually tried to make it to the public. And I have to search it. And whenever I will get it, I will supply it to you.
Okay.
Jayaditya, so that
I'll supply to everyone in the group.
Yeah, and it's very. I am very hopeful that something will come up.
I hope.
Yeah,
yes,
something will come up, because learned participants, so much actually participants who are so much learned that I am get elated. So I believe we will be able. We will be successful.
This is what we hope, and that is why we had this workshop. I really hope it's not just that one day World Environment Day workshop, and we have to push each other so that we achieve something out of it. Yeah. So if you have any other, we are already over time. I know that, and I'm sorry for all of you. I hope you people are here. I think Orghodip has something to say, but I'll come to him. But Abhishek Chakravarti has something to say because he raised his hand. Abhishek Chakravarti, you have something?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir, and the panelists and all the members over here. Actually, lockdown has helped a lot because the water bodies started already the self-healing, since the organic materials can easily degrade and biochemical oxygen demand becomes low.
Okay.
So the plastics which can be the plastics are actually non-biodegradable materials, so the plastics can be easily broken into monomers.
Yes, correct.
Mechanical recycling, or it can be made into carbon nanotubes, which are easily good conductivity of electricity.
So of course, Abhishek, good point. We can always discuss in person with you because you may have expertise in here. So thank you for your suggestion, and we can look into it. We also have a few more questions here and there, but our Orghodip wanted to say something.
So I have more of a question here. So like just now, Chirajit Saab also mentioned about India being one of the parties who joined the Ramsar Convention, if I'm not around 1982. So I think, sir, what we also realized from what Shoibal sir said, there were some political interferences when some orders were, pushed back.
Yes.
So my question is, in certain cases, what happens also is that, like laymen like us, we do not know what is a Ramsar Convention or what is a Ramsar site. So how can the layman understand about all these technicalities and jargons that are there in a simplified way? Can there be a way, like few of there was one question regarding there are so many other wetlands. So I think if I'm not wrong, there is something called the Wetland City Aggregation.
Okay. Yeah.
Part of Ramsar Convention. So how these things can be taken to the common people or the common citizens like us in a simplified way? Can there be a way so that we can also understand to question the authorities who don't have the political will.
Correct. So you are the solution to this problem. You are the best solution to this problem. As you were talking, I found that you are the best solution because we have to team up. See, this is the forum where we need to team up because everybody cannot do everything. So we did this video editing and did this video, and you see that is not up to the mark because we are not video editors or we do not have that state of art video making talent in us. And on the other side, Shoibal Sengupta sir, Mr. Chiranjeev Bosak, me, we have some data here and there. But the problem is most of the scientific data that are published, and we do contribute to a lot of scientific data, stays in scientific journal which are not at all accessible to common man. So whatever scientific data inside out, if you see in our YouTube channel, we have a channel which do some simplified version of all the technicalities that we see. So you people are in the media line, so you can, if you can help us, and we can just collaborate, and if we can, we every week we come up with a topic which actually impacts, like for example now COVID is going on, so we are talking about what are the difference between co-vaccine and Covishield, for example. So many people may have so these are the basic things we take up, and then we study ourselves because we don't know everything, we do not know much of the thing, so we study them, and then whatever we can, whatever resources we have, we make a video out of it. Now the point is that if you may have some good groups, and you who may have some expertise here, and we can do the scripting work, and we can take a objective, like one question: what is Ramsar site? Like you point out, very important question there, what is Ramsar site? So everybody uses the term Ramsar site, but in detail very few know, and we can make a maybe three minutes documentary out, or a 3 minutes script out of it. So what happens is that every day, every week if you are making one, we are covering 52 very sensitive topic after a year, and if we are continuing for 10 years, we are 520. So there's a hell lot of thing that we are delivering. So we need that support from you, and we can really come up with we can do the groundwork. Does that sound good, Argodip?
Absolutely, sir. Even the law part also, if we can get
yes,
into
obviously
understand the simplified,
If I may intervene,
yes.
I would like to address to these questions that I believe Argodip just mentioned, and if I'm not wrong, Ms. Chandrani also pointed out a while back. So first, I'll address to Argodip's question. Yes, Argodip, I believe you are right in a way that this is a major gap, awareness. So generation of awareness is something where it is not just a role or responsibility of an authority, but also of certain non-governmental organizations. That is one point which I believe he has, in fact, if I'm not wrong, we have just discussed about it, and Joyatuda, in fact, rightly pointed it out that through awareness generation by using electronic media is one viable option. Now, in addition to that, which I also would like to, because since you mentioned about the law, you see, when it comes to the Constitution of India, which is the law of our land, mostly we talk about Article 21, which is about right to life. Then Article 48A, 51AG, which is about fundamental duties and directive principle of state policy. Now, each and every individual, they have a fundamental duty under the Constitution, as well as the state has a directive, in a responsibility upon them to make certain measures, take certain measures for protection and preservation of ecosystem related components. But in the same constitution, there was an amendment which introduced Article 243W, which in fact talks about the responsibilities of district level bodies and the local bodies. So in order to, because what is happening in the international level, it might not get into the very grassroots level if there is no proper channelization of it. So that top-down approach is a big challenge, and that is the reason the district authorities are assigned with this responsibility to raise awareness. The Wetlands Conservation Authority, if you refer to the 2017 rules, and in fact, there is an operational guideline, as I've mentioned, but Rule 5 of Wetland Rules 2017 clearly said that each and every state, although Guwahati Water Bodies Preservation Conservation Act was enacted before, way before, in fact, in 2008, but 2017 demanded that this state of Assam should also, just like the way state of Assam has an Assam State Biodiversity Board. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. Assam State Biodiversity Board is there, and previously it was in Rehabari, but now they are in Arunab Bhavan, and the member secretary is a PCCF. I have worked with them. That's the reason I know. And the chairperson is the chief secretary. So now they're working in coordination, but each and every districts and even in the panchayat level, there is biodiversity management committee. But similarly, when it comes to wetland conservation, the Wetland Conservation Authority, I don't find it anywhere. But as per Rule 5 of Wetland Rules 2017, the composition of the members, since you asked who are the one, it should be the minister in charge. He should be the chairperson, if I'm not wrong, of the Department of Environment. The chief secretary of the state should also be the member secretary or the vice chairperson, sorry. Then other members include the secretaries from Department of Environment, Department of Forest, Department of Urban Development, Department of Rural Development, Water Resources, even Fisheries, Irrigation, Tourism, Revenue. And alongside that, even the chief wildlife warden or even the biodiversity board, which I just mentioned, the member secretary of biodiversity board is also part of it. State pollution control board, a member from Assam State Pollution Control Board should also be part of it. An assistant principal chief conservator of forest, who's the in a regional head, he should be part of it. And along with that, you would be amazed to know that they should also have one expert from the field of wetland ecology, hydrology, or fisheries of anything of that kind. So that way it is there. But what I don't see in here is that they don't have a representation from civil society organization, which is usually there in pollution control board. But yes, there is this composition, but I'm not sure whether they have already comprised it or constituted it. Or even if they have constituted it, then they should also make available what are the meetings that they have, the minutes of it. And as I've already mentioned, there should be two committee, technical and grievance committee, and we should be accessible to that. So this is what I wanted to add.
So this is again important point that we will need to look. So I will come back to Chandrani again. She has something, but Mohit Lohia has some things to say. Mohit, can you please just go ahead?
Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Myself, Mohit Lohia. So actually, I came out with a small solution while the meeting was going on.
Yeah.
So my solution is we can start without even going near the bills or rivers, just by taking a pledge that not to throw garbage in any other place other than dustbin. So because as we know, sir, that if we throw garbage not inside the dustbin in any other place like roads and all, it finally results in the drain. That the final garbage, correct. It comes to the drain, and sir, the drain water along with the garbage comes out in the river, and which finally results in pollution. So we can start this.
True.
And sir, one more thing.
Yes.
Sir, that sir, I will be more fluent in Hindi, sir, to explain this.
बताइए.
Sir, actually, sir, हम एक और चीज कर सकते हैं, जैसे हम किसी को भी देखें कोई गार्बेज फेंक रहा है अदर देन डस्टबिन, अगर डस्टबिन में नहीं फेंक रहा है, तो सर हम उन्हें पहले तो उन्हें समझा सकते हैं कि प्लीज आप मत फेंकिए. अगर वो उससे भी नहीं माने तो हम उनसे क्वेश्चन रेज कर सकते हैं कि आप क्यों नहीं फेंके. अगर इफ इन केस उनका आंसर ये होगा कि क्या फर्क पड़ता है सब फेंकने, तो सर हम उन्हें ये कंसर्न बता सकते हैं कि ये हमारे बिल्स कैसे टर्न आउट हो रहे हैं, एज अ वाटर पॉल्यूशन कैसे हो रहा है सर, सो दैट उन लोगों को भी समझ में आए कि कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता है, ऐसे फर्क पड़ता है सर.
सही बात है. तो दिस इज ए गुड सजेशन, एंड दीज आर द ग्रासरूट सजेशन जो हम लोगों को करना चाहिए. और ये कॉन्शियसनेस बिल्डअप बहुत सालों से हम लोग करने का ट्राई करते हैं, लेकिन वो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम लोग वी जस्ट लुक फॉर ए सिंगल डे एंड बस वी फॉरगेट इट. सो वहीं पे गलती हो जाता है. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट एक रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर का एक बढ़िया लाइन था, जो अन्याय करता है और जो अन्याय सहता है दोनों एक ही जैसा कल्प्रिट है. तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, बहुत सारे हम लोग ही जो है जो प्लास्टिक यहाँ वहाँ नहीं फेंकते हैं, बट क्या हुआ कि हम लोग तो देखते हैं किसी को फेंकते हुए, बट बोलते नहीं है बहुत टाइम, मतलब देयर इज आई डोंट नो व्हाट। सो वो एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है। तो वी नीड टू गेट आउट ऑफ द रॉन्ग को रॉन्ग बोलने का हम लोगों में वो जज्बा होना चाहिए। सो आई होप स्लोली स्लोली इट इज कमिंग एंड पीपल आर, जैसे आज से 4 साल 5 साल पहले जो था, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई टेक स्मोकिंग, पहले मैं जब एकदम छोटा था एवरीबॉडी वाज स्मोकिंग ऑन द बस एंड आई वाज चोकिंग, तो मुझे धुआं से एलर्जी है, लेकिन आजकल कोई नहीं। सो देयर शुड बी ए सस्टेन्ड एफर्ट, छोटा हो लेकिन सस्टेन्ड हो। हम लोग का क्या होता है, 5 जून को एक एकदम ग्राफ एकदम पीक को छूता है, फिर 6 को फिर जहां से शुरू हुआ वहीं रुक जाता है। तो वो नहीं देने होना है, छोटा छोटा कर्व करके ऊपर का तरफ, जैसे स्ट्रेट शेयर मार्केट आगे बढ़ता है छोटा छोटा। मोहित लोहिया में नो लिटिल बिट अबाउट शेयर मार्केट। सो छोटा छोटा करके आगे बढ़ता है शेयर मार्केट। शेयर मार्केट कभी पीछे नहीं देखता है, थोड़ा डाउन होता है, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली 1 साल बाद 12% इंटरेस्ट दे के ही जाता है। तो वी शुड हैव दैट मेंटेलिटी ऑफ शेयर मार्केट। सो चंद्रानी, यू आर टेलिंग समथिंग।
Yeah, I just want to add something, like as a journalistic view, what I think is that if we can put some kind of stories regarding this wetlands, like I'd already discussed with you that wetlands are great shock absorber of environment, and we are getting like frequent earthquakes like in all these days. So if we can put that in people's mind, like if you misuse the wetland and if you reduce its size, then you have already took a shock of 4.7 magnitude. This might be, the effect might be greater, like if we don't do anything about it.
Very true. I remember you told me this point, and
there is a good news that Assam government has opened a new department, started a new department, that's climate change, for climate change. That will be a separate department for climate change.
So that is great news.
I believe, even though it's a great news, and I'm quite optimistic it should be, Assam state also had an SDG cell, but we are performing the worst when it comes to the ranking, which you might have read a couple of days back. So a creation of authority and creation of a division is not the job. I believe we have to ensure that it is active enough, it is functional enough to take the cause forward.
But in this manner, what I think is that we can get hold of someone who will be able to speak about it. If they don't speak, that will also be a story.
Yes.
So yeah, we have to come down to the braced access, that we have to now. You are there. You can. You are the person we need to criticize for not doing their job. Now, most of the time, journalists are praising, not criticizing. That's the problem. So government has already there is a cell which publicizes the good work of government. We see half-page long advertisement what government achieved. So there is already a cell. So, but then we need to also, at times we should tell government what is wrong with the system. And I completely agree that with Chiradeep Bachar, that there are many ribbon cutting ceremony, but after that that stays back and no action is being taken. So I think there was one more question that raised hand was of Titir Devnath, and we will wrap up now. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
So it's more like a suggestion. I know most of the people in this webinar, there are people whose work speak more than they speak. So I believe after this webinar, there will be initiatives to work on this bill. So what I would like to suggest is, when the work starts, we should document the entire process, not just the success after the work is done, because the common people should know there is some work going on and the entire process. Maybe it may be some positive work, there may be ups and downs in the entire process, but that should be documented and it should be transparent with the common people as well.
True. Good point. So what we do now is, I think we are ready to wrap up, because I know the participants are really like very, because they have been in lots of time. But I would request those participants, just for a memory, so that we can share in the group, those participants who are in a position so that they can open the camera and we show us their face, good face, and we can just take a good photo of them being in the discussion, and we can share it, because nowadays we cannot take photographs. It is very rare because of COVID, but if we can take photograph of all of us being together, it will be great.
Sir, I had one question.
Yeah, Orgodeep tried to say something.
Okay, Orgodeep, yes.
So I have a question to Sengupta sir, and also to Chiranjeev sir. So we have a now SDG cell, and we so how can we make them realize that wetlands can be a very important part of the sustainable cities and sustainable communities goals, which is also a part of the extended sustainable development goals. So I really would like to know from the experts like you, sir.
Yeah.
Orgodeep, first and foremost, I'm not an expert. I'm just a researcher and into environment, just like you, maybe less than you. But with respect to the point that you have mentioned, that how to make them realize, trust me on this, they do realize. And I have had an opportunity to interact with these people. They are learned fellow. They have qualified an exam. They know about everything. Maybe at least that's what they think so. But yes, they know what the laws are. But somehow, somewhere, I feel that, say, for example, you have created so many authorities, and they are also overburdened at the same point of time, because they are also part of multiple authorities. I have seen the chief secretary himself being the chairperson of this body, that body, and so on and so forth. So he cannot apply his mind at times. It's quite obvious. On the top of it, I think one point which Professor Sengupta have also mentioned a while back, that is the political gimmick which usually happens. In fact, with respect to, I remember, with respect to inland water, in fact, the authorities, when I was having word with the officials, they were raising a concern in there that when it comes to these, the ferries that we usually take over River Brahmaputra, the private ferries, they charge, I think, 20 rupees or maybe more. But when it comes to the government one, they're still with 5 rupees or something. So even if this so-called the tariff setting is something which they really want to have in their control, so that they can also raise the tariff, so that because they are also employees and they do also want to rejuvenate and ensure a good mechanism for that. But somehow, somewhere, because of political pressure, they cannot set the tariff. At the end of the day, it is the state entity which is setting the tariff, and state is definitely doing that, keeping the vote bank in mind. So, which brings back to that, basic question that I put forward in the initial point itself, back to square one, that it all depends upon what we want, the social problem. Because ecosystem restoration, everything is coming back to square one, to this particular point, that what we want. So as a society, as a people, what we want. And I believe there comes the major role of activism and awareness generation, that we have to change our consumer pattern. We have to change our consumerism. And that way, because these authorities, they are well versed with the laws, they know the rules, they know even better than us at times, I believe, and they know the gaps and loopholes, trust me. So that is the point, that our consumerism, our demand, we demand that, but without realizing the efficacy and pragmatism associated with those components of ecosystem itself. So I think at the end of the day, it's us.
True.
Orgodeep, I believe Orgodeep asked, actually question for me was how to make the people realize the good of the ecosystem, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. As I have already stated, that Rupankar has initiated something with water hyacinth. And also that's such a large chunk of water hyacinth. We can make use of this water hyacinth in making some match involving people, so they will get some return. The first thing. Second thing, when this actually the ecosystem services, what we can get if we communicate to these people, that if it is a nice one, what we can get from it. If we can communicate, if they can realize it, then only they will come forward to save this. So we have to make some model, some way to communicate this. These people, by maintaining the wetland, are getting this much of value in return. If we can, you also will get this much value in return. Earlier days, we have seen this. We used, the people, local people used to go and fish there for fishing with nets in Sola Beel. We have actually, at that time, we were kids, not kids actually, 10 to 12 years old. And we used to go and stand by the side of the elder people, those who were fishing. It was because I am a resident of Sattibari originally. Now I am shifted to Rihabari. I am a resident of Sattibari, and this is very close to this Sola Beel. So I have seen people going over there.
Okay, sir. That is nice. And now what I think is, we actually initially planned the webinar for 1 hour, and as I see the clock in my laptop, I see it's now almost 2 hours. And it is, I must say that this webinar must have something to hold so many people for so long, that 2 hours is a long time to be in a webinar, and people are there. And it is, I believe nowadays it is easy sometimes to be a speaker, but it is hard, very hard to get audience or listeners to, and that too for 2 hours is an achievement, I think. And I thank all of you, and I see Orgodip is clapping for all of you. You see, I really thank all of you from bottom of my heart, but I also request you that like any other, you people should push us. If tomorrow I forget and this becomes a gimmick, so you should say, you should make us accountable. Like what happened, you did. The next World Environment Day, we should be accountable, and you should ask, like, what did you do after? And we all need to work together. Whoever has whatever expertise, does not matter whoever has what. It does not have to be very big, a small. Maybe somebody visits a Sola Beel sometime. That is also a good thing. That if you have not visited Sola Beel, the bare minimum you can do is visit Sola Beel. So at the very end, I thank all of you, and I would like to tell again that this group, like Aniket, Rupankar, and I think where is Ashadeep? I don't know where Ashadeep is. So
yeah.
I just want to see you and make people, and people should also see you if you are able to be switch on your video. Yes. So we did, they did a lot of work conceptualizing this, making a website, and believe me, this was done like we did not want to do anything in World Environment. There were so many people are doing. So initially we did not. Because I always want to do something for someone who is voiceless. Like we work for lesser known animals, like amphibian reptile. Shoibar sir is an expert in amphibian. We work in lesser known habitat. So we did not want to join the race. But then suddenly we thought that this thing was cropping in my mind. 2 years back, we initially started this thing of Sola Beel, and then it again went to the cold room. And now that we again rejuvenated it, and we got lots of support from you people. So please do not let it stop. Whoever has whatever capacity, please do not let it stop. If we can achieve this and save this bill and extend, and as Mr. Boshak said, if we can take it to, we cannot restore it to what it was, but we can at least get somewhere near that, and that would be an example that, like Guwahati, like city, if a wetland can be rejuvenated, there would be many bill in Dibrugarh, there would be many bill in Tejpur. People would be getting positive vibes, so revive those. This will act as a rolling stone, giving momentum to the cause. So this is not the bill. This bill will speak for the bill of throughout Assam at least, and then to India. So thank you all of you for being here, and specifically our esteemed, I won't say like they are guests, because all of are like beneficiaries, because if that wetland stays, we will stay and we'll be happy, and we will think that our one day talk has some impact and we have rejuvenated. So with that, I thank you all of you. Orgodip, Shoibal Sengupta sir, Chirodip Bosak, Rupankar, Aniket, and whoever is there I see in the screen, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. And with this, I hope this is just the beginning and you stay with us, and whenever you can, we will be supporting you. Sometime also you reverse the role and support us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you all.
day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Thanks a
you
lot.
everyone
Thanks a
for
lot,
joining.
Jaditya.
Thank you so much.
And yes,
Thank you, sir.
don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we keep on updating such regularly.
So there is he does the marketing job for us, Rupankar. Wherever he gets the chance, he just put, he wants to get more subscriber basically in Inside Out. So I am being honest. So please subscribe the Inside Out YouTube channel and page. Rupankar, please share it in the group. Okay. Be very honest. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.